Hi there. Welcome. Listen to that harp.
Every time I hear that now, I want to redo it, though.
Why?
It's good, but there's a couple of moments in there where I think I could have done better.
Are you good at cunnilingus because of the harmonica? What?
That's a good question.
I think it's a fair question.
Oddly, I've been asked.
I don't think he's the guy to ask.
What do you mean? He's the guy that gives cunnilingus.
Well, you'd want to ask the person on the other end of that, probably.
Oh, right. I don't want to ask his wife that. That would be an odd introduction.
Yeah.
You get that a lot?
Hi, honey. Yeah, I actually have been asked that quite a few times. I like the fact that looks like a little harmonica.
Oh my God.
Here, I will leave you at this.
Yeah.
With respect to any comments about my prowess in the bedroom. Okay. Let's just say that 10 men represents the entire population of the men in the world. I am pretty sure I'm about 1 or 2 on how good I am in bed, which means there's a lot of people way better than me in bed. So we'll leave it at that.
I didn't know where that was going.
I
wasn't sure if that was going to be like a self-promotion or a self-deprecation.
I was rating myself.
I still don't know what it is.
I was rating myself, James E.
Yeah, well, you rated yourself number 1 or number 2.
I'm in the bottom 10% of people that are good at anything in that.
I thought you were in the top 10%. I thought
when my wife does give me the go ahead for sexy time.
Does she snap her fingers? That's kind of hot if she does.
When I get the green light for sexy time, I usually black out.
Maybe that's why she gives you the green light. Oh, he's a little drunk. Sexy time, and he's passed out.
Black out. I'm in the Reddit group of the cunnilingus community.
Oh.
Right now, and playing them from harmonica is one of the terms that is used by the Reddit cunnilingus community.
It's just deductive reasoning. Just deductive.
I call it face piano. I've referred to it as face piano forever. I think I actually may have coined that phrase because I remember
mouth organ.
I remember I said that to Kelly once from Big Sugar on an interview, and he lost it. And he's a fucking unbelievable harmonica player, way better than I could ever play it. But I was like, a little face piano. He goes, "What did you just call it?" And now every time I see Gordy, he always goes, "Hey, face piano."
But isn't it one of those? Because listen, anybody that plays the harmonica, welcome to the program. By the way, my name is Dean. We just started right with cunnilingus and the harmonica because of James. My name is Dean. That is James D. Fiore. That is Ryan Lindley. Ryan from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. James from Blackballed, and of course Locked and Cross from 95.7 Cruise FM. You can follow us where you look at our names on the screen. It's all on Twitter. And hello to everybody that's joining us in the comments section. Nice to see you all. And you can join us, by the way, YouTube and Twitch as well. But is there a place to go and get harmonica lessons? Because to me, the harmonica is like the only instrument where it's like, I learned this in jail, or I learned this in juvie, or I learned this planting trees. You know what I mean? Like that's. Yeah. You never hear, like, I know there's piano lessons, drum lessons, guitar lessons. Never heard of anybody giving a harmonica lesson.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lachlan, but isn't the harmonica kind of forgiving for amateurs in that you might not be able to get down your pattern right away, but it's not like gonna like send you off on a cliff on these horribly like sounding notes, right?
You're right, because really, because of the chromatic. There's the 4. And I should not be talking about this. And musicians are going to be listening to this. They're going to be losing their minds. But yeah, there's a lot of forgiveness in the notes and how they're, and especially if you play on the 4th, right? So, and how they're designed. Outside of that, I can't explain it.
Can you stop with the inside harmonica language?
On the 4th?
I know. I don't know how else
any other days
to.
A week, okay? Or
yeah.
Like, I don't know how else. I don't.
Mr. Like Elite harmonica guy.
Here's the other thing too: is I can't play straight harp. Like if you hear Bob Dylan and Neil Young play,
so fellatio is more your game.
They're playing in the key that the song is in. So if the song is in C, they have a C harp, and that's really fucking hard. I've never been able to do that. I play in which I think it's called the chromatic. So I play in the 4th position. So if the song is in A, I'm in D. And so I think that's even an easier. You see guys like John Popper, like from Blues Traveler, and he's flipping harmonicas around because he can play anything and he just knows where all the notes are. Whereas I have to be told what we're doing. Like, all right, what key are we in? And then I'll grab the right harp and then I can dance around in it. And
there's
I'm
different
playing
harps,
strictly by
and
ear.
that's what cool people call them as harps. You don't read music, but there's different harps. Is that correct?
No. And I come from a family on my dad's side. My grandmother used to get up and play piano. She used to get up she just sit up there and just start going. She was
banging away. It's like you guys were like a traveling circus family. Would you get up there with the harmonica and start giving her too? Is it?
No. We never really got the chance. Dad kind of fucked off on us when I was 8. So we didn't get to
cigarettes are expensive in St. Albert. You had to go to Saskatchewan.
So anyway, my grandmother played by ear. My dad used to plug his guitar into the stereo and go, like I'd visit at Christmas time and he'd be plugging in and he'd go, "Hey, who is this, Locke?" And he would just be playing along. He played by ear. So I thought I would have that with a cool instrument. Nope. Couldn't do it with guitar. Couldn't do it with fucking piano. I'm surprised I didn't get the fucking accordion with my luck. But one day,
did you get the old recorder out?
Somebody threw a harmonica on a bus on a road trip for high school volleyball because Trent Dick used to play, and he was horrible at it, and he was trying to do it when we were on road trips, and everyone would get mad at him. So he threw it back and landed beside me. I picked it up and started going, and he came back and he said, "How did you do that?" And I went, "I don't know. I haven't got a fucking clue." So I started playing when I was like 15 years of age in like grade 8. And I've just I have an ear for it. I can get up and play as long as I know what key we're in. I can play along.
So would you say that, like, you know how they have those crazy savants that just pick up an instrument and know how to play it? Like, you know, when a kid, you hear the story, like little Jimmy, when he was 2, he would just walk up to the piano and just start doing Beethoven's Fifth. He just, was that like you with the harmonica? Like you just learned how to play it because you just kind of knew?
Yes, but I've never been referred to as a savant.
You've been referred to as an idiot.
An idiot. I was just going to say you got the idiot part.
That's true. That is. I stand corrected.
I have never done something where I've just naturally been fucking ace at it. Like that's some kind of weird chemical in your body, or that's some kind of weird connection, right? And it's not like we're all good at certain things, but like. That's savant stuff. That's like the weird, oh my God, he's one of those people. You're one of those people. I didn't even know you were one of those people until today. So I'm happy I know you're one of those people.
I've explained it to like people before.
A harmonica genius.
I wouldn't call it that. I've explained it to people before where I see a pattern in my head because my wife used to, like, we'd go out and I'd just get up and play with the band. And she goes, you don't know any of those guys. Have you ever played that song? I'm like, no. She goes, how the fuck did you do that? I'm like, I just see a pattern. It's not even a visual thing. I can't explain it. And I know exactly.
I think I know exactly what you mean, though. Yeah. I know in the lyrical sense. I know what you mean. Like for some reason I can memorize lyrics, others my own. Like I literally counted when I was 18 about all the songs I memorized that were mine and other people's, just as a fucking stupid thing to do while we were on acid. And it was like 3 million words that I knew off by heart when I was like 18, 17. So I think I know what you mean because the patterns are the same, right? They're like 4 on the floor. You got to like squeeze your syllables in between these bars, or else you're off rhythm and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that's the only way I've been able to explain it. And I know a lot of guys that play by ear. Like I know, it's funny. Most bands, if you guys are sitting in front of a band, you'll be surprised at how few of them actually know how to read music.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I picked up things, but.
Most big places or big faces have all admitted that they don't read music. They don't do theory. They only do practical. I bought 2 harmonicas in my life because I was that guy on the bus the first time and I threw it away. I'm never playing this fucking stupid thing again. Yeah. And then for some reason I thought maybe 10 years later it was just going to be easier, and it wasn't. So that
I've had so many people ask me to teach them, and I can't because I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm doing. I don't know. I've always just sort of said, if you want to play, just go grab a C harp and just start trying to get a pattern down. And if you can go from there and build on that, then you might have something. But It's
do you think
frustrating.
Do you think Kid Rock knows how to read music?
Yeah. I bet you Kid Rock is musical.
Yeah.
A lot of
Jay-Z,
people.
you think Jay-Z knows how to read music?
Jay-Z doesn't even write lyrics.
No.
He just thinks of
Jay-Z
lyrics.
memorizes them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being that rich, that famous, that influential, that you don't write your music, you don't write your songs, but they're all yours?
No, but he writes them, but he thinks of them. He writes them in his brain. He doesn't write them down on paper.
It's like Biggie was. Biggie Smalls was like that too.
Biggie used to write his. But he would freestyle sometimes. But
he would freestyle it off and then record it and write it down after that.
You know who else is a freaky musician? Is Ozzy.
Really? Osbourne?
He was a good producer apparently back in the day.
Plays harmonica, plays piano. Very good musician. Yeah. And
we were just laughing about Kid Rock and your buddy Army Chris, who's just a huge Kid Rock guy. He's like, Kid Rock plays every instrument in his fucking band.
He sets the stage up and puts the lights up and he puts the speakers
honestly,
up.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Turntables.
Yeah,
fucking Bieber's like that. You can make fun of Bieber. Bieber can play every fucking instrument in
I don't make fun of the Biebs.
I didn't make fun of him.
I love the Biebs now.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of the Biebs. Got in trouble for making fun of the Biebs when he was a kid. Big time. It's one of those CBSC complaints. You can read all about it. And
Dean Blundell, Bieber, CRTC complaint.
That's all you got to do is Google it. Highly inadvisable. Anyway, but I'm a big Biebs guy now because for a couple of reasons. The Timbits for sure brought me around. Yeah, big time. The Toques, I've made a couple thou. Selling those Toques to stupid Americans, which is awesome. And on top of it, I'm like, I like the cut of his jib now. Like, I like the fact that he just is kind of doing whatever he does. You never hear terrible news about the guy. He's just kind of living his life. Is he a Jesus freak? For sure. But it works for him. So it's okay. He's allowed. He's absolutely allowed.
Wait till he breaks out of the Jesus phase, though.
I think it's the AA thing that dragged him into the Jesus thing. I could be wrong.
Was he in AA? Did he go into AA? Or NA? I think it was NA because he was into the drugs.
Doesn't matter. When you're an ex-addict, you're really susceptible to Jesus.
Right?
That's where it goes. Yeah.
So are Americans. I was dealing with them all day today and last night. So yesterday, a buddy of mine called me. He lives in Arizona. Virulent anti-vaxxer, massive Trump guy, thinks this is all bullshit. He's got 3 kids. 2 of them have asthma. The 2 boys have asthma, pre-existing conditions, which everybody's going to jump on. And he calls me sobbing yesterday, and he's like, I can't believe I did this. Was he drunk? Yes. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe it. And I'm like, whoa, fucking moment of truth, right? Like, this is incredible. Moment of truth. He needs to get his life together. He says to me, what happened? How did I do this? He kept repeating himself. How did I do this? What happened? And I'm like, well, probably a little ego and the fact that you just, I don't know, we're trying to prove something to everybody, I guess. And he's like, yeah, the government shouldn't have, all the same tropes. Government shouldn't be involved in your home and shouldn't be involved in decisions. Anyway, his kids are going to be okay. Long story short, kids are going to be fine, apparently. Trouble breathing, again, pre-existing conditions. So there you go, everybody. And it was fascinating because he called. Actually, it was funny because he called me the first time from the hospital shit-canned, something I didn't tell anybody. And then had a change of heart about 4 hours after I posted a tweet about my friend that called me and he was sad. And then he called me and he said I misrepresented everything he said and that he was having an emotional moment. He's not interested in my bullshit anymore. And I was like, wow, this is great because what happened is when I tweeted about it, and I shouldn't have tweeted about it. I shouldn't have dunked on him.
You didn't put his name on it.
No, but people were bringing up the fact that I was bringing up his misery and I was dunking on him. Was I dunking on him? Yeah. And I shouldn't have, right? He knew it was him. His wife, lovely lady, called me. Actually, he called me this morning. He said she was upset, so I deleted the tweets, even though it didn't have his name on them. But the damage was done. I mean, I cannot tell you how many people I got sending me, and all American, every single one of them American, some blue check marks, not many, saying, A, I made it up, B, which, as you guys know me, is a big maker-upper of things.
Yeah.
And B, that I was an asshole for telling him he didn't get his kids vaccinated because of his ego. And I shouldn't have. Did I make myself the star of the story? Probably.
That's not why you're an asshole.
I know, but that
we can
was
come
the
up with
part
a number of reasons. Actually, that'd be fun. Do you guys
Let's make a list. You guys want to make a list?
If I was to go back and do it again, I wouldn't have said I said this to him because I didn't need to put my part in that, right? It was his suffering and his sadness and all that shit. But it was funny because it started this cavalcade of hatred from Americans who are like, I fucking hate people like you. And I'm like, I know. And then they dug up a story from last week. Do you remember the story of this lady? Her name is Cirsten Wheldon. She was a big QAnon supporter. She got COVID. She used to go to like kids' schools and like protest. And she's this terrible fucking person. Anyway, she got COVID, got sick. We posted that story last week. Died, refusing the Fauci poison, she called it. They kept going, hey, listen, you should probably take some of this stuff in the hospital. She's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. My Lord will save me. So she died. And I tweeted the story. Looks like we got a couple of Jesus COVID QAnon-related deaths / homecomings to celebrate, kids. And holy shit, it was awesome for like 6 hours today.
Fuego.
Well,
you guys saw it.
I mean, I don't get mad over shit like this. I think you should be able to say whatever you want, this and that, and the other thing. But there is something different about like Chris Guy dying versus some stupid person that isn't grifting. Like stupidity isn't my bar for when I start saying LOL. I don't think, because we'd just be laughing all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
there's the ignorance. I think
it's sensitive. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not trying to be funny about it either. But it's just like the way that you did that impersonation, I thought was perfect. But then I felt not sad, but like a little bit like, it might not be my target. Like it would be that guy that was still trying to generate money that died a couple of weeks ago that was in the coma because he kept on saying it was fake even while he was dying and kept on saying it was pneumonia. That guy's a grifter. And he's taking advantage of the people like that lady, I think, you know. So there is a little bit of a difference in nuance, I think.
Well, that leads me to my question, because I shared some of this with Lynn's last night and a couple of DMs and stuff like that. And here's the thing, my buddy, I was angry with him, and I still am. He didn't want to be my friend anymore. I could care less. Because if his kids were sick, it was because they had asthma, and it's because the family wasn't vaccinated. That's what the doctors told him. When he talked to me this morning, he told me the doctors lied to him yesterday because the doctors are in a habit of lying to people about stuff when their kids are in the hospital. And it was interesting because part of me, like, I get introspective when stuff like do I take offense to anything? Fuck no. I got labeled over the past 24 hours, like this lady from Biden Sucks Ass. Who called me a demon, and this girl who told me that she wouldn't sleep with me. She says it's good, thanks. She called me a bootlicker, said she's not going to sleep with me. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's a shame because I didn't ask.
I don't think licking boots and licking vaginas are the same thing, which is probably what she meant, right? Like,
probably.
Let's ask the harmonica guy.
This one, Dutch's little wiener. This woman in front of a Justin Trudeau poster waiting to have some cunnilingus. It was over, and it was over the top, and it was fucking great because like I was sitting waiting for my son to write his G1, his learner's permit, and I'm like, this is fucking super entertaining.
Dean, are you bored?
No, that's the thing, is that it got me thinking because a lot of people were saying all death is bad, right? You shouldn't celebrate the death of this woman even though she chose it. She said she'd rather go home to be with Jesus than be on this earth. Well, good job done. So I was just congratulating her. But are all deaths the same? Like, we've seen 5-year-old Ava May pass away here in Ontario last week. That was crushing. Didn't have a chance to get the vaccine. We've seen lots of people that didn't have a chance to get the vaccine pass away. We've seen a lot of people try to get the vaccine and die, not because of the vaccine, but because they couldn't get it in time. We've seen people that have wanted to be part of the solution of the greater good suffer incredibly. And I find when those people die as a result of this, that's sad. Do I find when someone like this passes away sad? A person who protested kids' vaccine clinics, who sat in front of like a children's school and told them they were all going to be part of the Nazi experiment? I don't think so. That's my point. And I said that to everybody when they were coming for me today. They're like, you're a fucking egregious demon. You're an icy demon.
Avenging.
No way they spelled
Icy.
egregious correctly.
Okay.
There's no way.
And my no, they didn't. I added that.
You're a
word 'cause it's
Gregory
too
demon.
big. I have the word. It's too big. But are all deaths the same? Let's put it out there because I don't think they are. Like I think Ava May's life was worth far more than anybody's life who I interacted with on Twitter today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's about worth. I think you should take that out of it. I think every life is valuable. I think, and if you take a look at it from the perspective of what you can learn from somebody's life and somebody's passing, then everybody has value and everybody brings something to the table.
But a lot of them take away from that table too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've said this before. I've learned more from the mistakes I've made than my successes. In the past, I've learned more from bad bosses than I've learned from good bosses, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, there are no mistakes, only lessons kind of thing.
Yeah. I think the value of some of the lessons I've learned from bad managers are more important and have had more value than the guy that I really liked, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think death is objective. But
yes,
but the mourning is subjective. So
absolutely.
for example, when Rob Ford died, it's not like I knew him personally. We knew each other's names. I had been on the same debate stage with him once, and I met him a bunch of times after that or before that or whatever. But when he died, all the people in Toronto who were progressives, and a lot of them who spoke out against the government not doing their part in funding addiction issues and things like that, which was Rob Ford's problem. He also wasn't bright, but like his problem was his demons and his drinking and his drug use. And when he died, it was like they pissed on his corpse. All of them, calling him a crackhead, relitigating all of the things that he had done while he was drunk or on crack or whatever. And I was just like, you fucking hypocrites. Like, you guys are always talking about addiction and how it's an illness and it's not a crime and this and that. And on the day that this guy dies, who I don't think ever like killed anyone. I don't know, maybe he did, but I doubt it. But like, to betray your own ethics when it comes to the issues that you care about, like addiction and what we should do about it, and just betray them blindly in front of people and just and start like laughing at a man who had all of these demons and then eventually died of cancer, just doesn't sit well with me. Not because I'm sad that Rob Ford died, but because it's disgusting that people would just betray their own principles like that.
I think that's a better way of approaching this. If I can just jump in quickly, Ryan, because I know you have something to add, but I think you should unravel this, or we could unravel this from the perspective of the hypocrisy of how we feel, or the difference of how we feel when one person dies versus another. Like a perfect example is Betty White, right? Like, how upset are we that Betty White died? Very. Kind of, right? But she's 99. I mean, she had a pretty good life. I was a little sad when she missed her 100th birthday on the 17th of January.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. She would have hit the 100 mark. Right?
It was very, very bad record taking back then, so she could have been 100.
and
sold in the sliced bread.
Then last night, I wasn't sad that Bob Saget died. I was kind of shocked, but I'm able to go on my day, right? And even if we can use this podcast as a litmus test, right? When we talked about Ava last Thursday, the 5-year-old who died, I mean, I was having problems with it, but I've always been able to. Because I'm a cold-hearted son of a bitch, I've always been able to maintain my emotions.
Harmonica did that to you,
right? Yeah, but Ryan,
you've always been a cunning linguist, Lachlan.
Ryan was broken up and impacted by that a great deal. Do you know that? No, it did impact all of us. It just impacts us all differently.
But the weird thing about that was that it wasn't, and I don't hear me out because it's going to sound mean, but then it's going to get there. It wasn't Ava's death that really got me to like be emotional on air. It was listening to Dean's words about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's. I think it's the loss of the potential and the opportunity there. So like there wasn't a whole lot of potential left for Betty White. So I'm not going to cry for her, but I'm going to cry for a 4-year-old little girl that did nothing wrong.
What if it was a boy? 5-year-old boy?
Yeah. Any child, like any kid that just dies.
Well, you have a daughter.
Needlessly.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah, I am a little more predisposed. I have a bit of a predisposition to feeling sorry for little kids, the little girls that die, of course. But that being said, it's a value thing, and it's what value, like you brought it up, what did they bring to the table, and opposed to what did they take away from the table, and that's where I struggle, and I'm starting to come back where I went through that. I don't give a fuck. I don't have any fucks left to give for you. You're lying there, dying, asking for the vaccine now. That I kind of look back at that now, and I go, did they get so fucked by somebody like her, that QAnon lady, or those right-wing assholes in the States that have radio shows? Did they die because of them? I think so. So when those guys die, I don't give a fuck. Good, go. Because you know what? You're now out of the way. You're the speed bump that was holding us back and potentially killing people.
Are you talking about the radio people or the people?
Yeah,
that
the
listen
radio and
You're
the
talking about like the
TV
Rush Limbaughs of the world that
He's dead, isn't he?
eventually. I know he's
Yeah,
dead, and I didn't
yeah.
feel any sadness about that either.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
kind of
talking
hope
about
Pope
those-
Benedict dies. So I don't know where that puts me on the spectrum. You know, not Pope Francis. I think he should live a long life and suffer the consequences for his actions.
Yeah.
But Pope Benedict is already 90-something, right? He wrote the policy that passed the priests around to all the different places. So I kind of hope he dies. Horrible death.
Well,
Hope they crucified that
according
fucker,
to the
you know?
standard that all these people want us to live by in the born again Christian community, specifically the anti-vaxxers. Because you know it's funny, none of these guys that attacked us today, when I would point out that no one said a word about the 800,000 deaths. This is the one you're concerned about, you fucks. Like that was what amazed me about it. And so it's not like a tit for tat thing. And I identify with what Ryan's talking about. You guys are probably right, which is why I wanted to have the conversation. It bothered me today. And what bothered me is the fact that I went back and read this article that we put out about this lady named Cirsten Wheldon, who died willingly. And that was her choice, right? But then I read the headline, and what I like to do when I start getting pounded from people, and I'm like, maybe is there something here for me to learn too? Should we not be fucking talking about these things anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like, part of me was, because listen, I got skin in the game. Was I dunking on my friend the other day? Yeah, I was. Was it classy? No, it wasn't. It was, and bygones be bygones. That did what it did, and it's over. Doesn't matter. But the same theme is here, and we talk about these things all the time, right? We talk about the irony of someone who said Jesus will save them from the vaccine, laying in bed, dying, refusing it, and then on their deathbed before she dies saying she doesn't want the Fauci poison, and she dies the next day. And if she had it, chances are she probably would still be here. So
Why
to
did
me,
they call
those
it
are
that?
just,
Did he create it?
No,
But she calls it that because
head.
someone poisoned her mind.
That's
Yes.
exactly it.
I
She's
know,
stupid and susceptible.
those people I hate too, but it's bigger than that, because I take someone's body of work into account when after they pass away. Were they a good person or not? Bob Saget. I have seen a stream of tweets from people about the death of Bob Saget, who passed away yesterday. This is his last tweet 2 days ago. He left Jacksonville, did a show. He texted his daughter, showed up at his hotel room, didn't answer any texts in Orlando the next day, and dead at 4:00 in the afternoon.
The vaccine killed him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
heard that
Chris
last
Sky
night.
says. Yeah, Chris. This is the thing. So I'm sad about Bob Saget. I don't think Bob Saget was a problem or someone who treated people like shit. Pete Davidson talked about how he brought him back from his bipolar thing and was the kindest human being in the world. Everybody from Full House is going. So what does Chris Sky do? And again, these are the people I'm talking about. He says this house is a little less full when your loved one takes the jab and dies suddenly of an unknown cause. Just say no to the booster. So he appropriated that death as a result of the booster. Like every single one of those people that came for me today on Twitter, every single one of them had something like that in their bio. One guy's from Jackson, Mississippi. They're all from the United States. These are fucking poisoned individuals who are not just not part of the solution, they're actively campaigning against it. So when a guy like Bob Saget dies, as devastating as it is, it is not the same as when someone like Cirsten Wheldon, who gave up her right to live in free society when she said she didn't want to fucking be here anymore and she'd rather be dead than take the vaccine and live amongst us non-purebloods, I believe is something that she said.
This is what I mean by unraveling the hypocrisy of it, because it's coming from both sides. So you're doing, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here.
I'm doing the same thing.
You're doing exactly the same thing. They're putting more value on somebody that said no to the vaccine and made the choice to stand up against what they believe is tyranny and leading us down a path of communism or whatever their narrative it is today. It seems to shift a lot.
Right.
So they're hauling you out for of bringing less value to her life.
Right.
But they do it on their end. And if somebody dies from getting the vaccine or dies and had the vaccine, they're not as important. Right.
Okay. So can I ask you a question?
But you're doing it. They're doing it. And then
if intention matters, and my intention is to say this is getting crazy, is it to dunk on the dead? No. But when the dead say over my dead body and they die and they get what they want, are we supposed to just go, oh, that's a shame? You got what you wanted.
No, but people are getting hung up on you using her as
example as to why people should get vaccinated.
Yeah, you're using her as a prop. So
no, I'm using her as an example of the stupidity in the kingdom.
And
that's
there'll be a new one next week.
Sort of a prop.
We'll be off her by next week. It'll be fine. We'll have.
I don't mean prop in a bad way. People use props. Sorry, go ahead, Brad. Yeah.
No, I don't. You're right though. Working backwards from it, Lachlan, I think you're onto something there. Where let's start over here and find our own motivation for the way we think and the way we feel about it.
Yeah.
And I've come full circle twice, and I think Army Chris said it in there. It's been 2 fucking years. Okay, now they're either so deep and dug into it and spun into their own shit that they're never coming back. They're just gonna keep getting.
So should we stop?
Should
we stop pointing it out? That's my question.
Don't ever stop doing what you don't want to. What you want, if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
But they're also mocking. They're mimicking what Christians used to do. And in fact, when Christopher Hitchens had stage 4 cancer, he said, if they ever tell you that I had some deathbed conversion, don't believe them, because they used to posthumously baptize non-believers and make it seem like
Romney's father-in-law.
And now Chris Guy is
write
doing
that down
that.
in my will.
Is doing a version of that. Yeah, right. Is doing a version of that
by religion saying, at my funeral. None of it. Sorry.
That's okay. By saying the same thing essentially by posthumously saying that this death was attributed to something that it wasn't attributed to, and so it's almost the same thing, which is yet another mirroring between crazy religious people and anti-vaxxers, which is that list is now endless. Do you remember when I was like a year and a half ago, I was like, what do you mean? There's a lot of radical Christians in the anti-vaxxer? I had no fucking idea. I was just like, I saw these anecdotal examples and now it's all I see.
Yeah.
All I see is Jesus everywhere.
I think what you're asking, and you're asking us from this conceptual position, Dean, and I think it's better if you ask yourself, because I think we're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to use the numbers and the stories to boost our own narrative, right? And to try to secure our own position in this, right? I've been doing it. I've been like, well, that number there, that doesn't work for me. This one, but how can people not see this? You sort of manipulate all of this information that we're getting to try to reinforce what it is you believe, because I'm sitting here going, why the fuck is everyone so angry? Why am I having a conversation with you guys and then yet I'm on the phone with my mother and she thinks it's crazy. I think what you should do, Dean, is you should boil this down and try to figure out what you want to do moving forward, because I think this is more about you. It's more about not so much what people should be doing.
I don't think there's going to be much of a change, Lachlan.
I keep saying to you, have you got a reason for doing this? Because I don't think you're actually changing.
Yeah, I do. I have a reason.
I don't think you're changing people's opinions, though.
No, and that's where I am, and I think you fucking nailed it with that last thing. Is like, hey, listen, Did I enjoy today? Was it fun? Trolling Americans that have a hard time with syllables.
Stressful.
No, not stressful.
I'm
for me
sorry.
at all.
Wait,
I
wait.
fucking
Silhouette?
Really enjoyed it.
I
Syllables.
like how he says it wasn't stressful, but not for his social media team. But that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry, bud.
The guy
I know.
that
Have
runs-
you seen that
the guy that
before in
runs
your
the-
life?
Oh,
Have
yeah,
you
the guy that
seen
runs
people
the
come
Twitter
out?
side?
Oh,
Thanks.
yeah, sorry, buddy. Lindley's all over it. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you guys.
No, it's not stressful at all. It's fine. Fuck, I love it.
Starting fires.
Keep
Meanwhile,
going.
guys. Have fun.
Keep going. Whatever floats your boat, fucker.
Yeah, sure.
But here's where I'm at. Is it it's a zero-sum effort? If our goal is to be better people, and it's a lot of fun, people going, "You're not very stoic." I'm like, "Fuck, I know. I didn't stoic that one. I fucking deemed it. I totally deemed that article."
Sounds like a golfing term.
Well, I know I'm a verb now. I deemed it. So it's when you let go of everything that you're working on and just go, "Fuck you guys," because you just had enough,
Yeah,
right?
but
Like
that's
it's just
still
one of
too
those things.
straight. I think a dean more hooks.
Yeah.
Well, the dean of a university would just be right there down the middle with discipline, right? So,
Yeah.
Icy demons don't operate that way.
No, I'm an icy demon. But and how many people told me I needed Jesus in my life today? It was fucking classic because Lindsay just gave me this sweet new candle the other day. That's what I think of the good Lord. I love New York Jesus, party Jesus.
he looks like George Burns with long
I like
hair.
what you did with it. I
Thank
actually
you, yeah.
really like what you did with it.
Well, thanks for the Christmas gift. He also gave me a all cats poop calendar. I didn't put it up yet. It'll be up tomorrow.
Okay.
But my thing is this: if it's a zero-sum game, these guys are just fucking dicks, and they're going to be dicks, and they were dicks before this. They're going to be dicks after this, and the only thing that legitimately matters to anybody who tweeted me and said this is in bad taste that you made fun of a Jesus freak's death, who wanted to die, by the way, she asked for it. She begged for it, as a matter of fact. She said, "Please don't put that in me. I'd rather die." And they're like, "All right, see you later." So whatever.
You can take care of that.
She's
Yeah,
not
they
with
did.
Jesus right now, which is
It's
the
a-
best part because
So
she's just dead.
is it dunking on them the same as natural, like celebrating natural consequences? For my own Schadenfreude, should we be leaving that behind? That's my question. Should we just be glazing over those stories and
It
We
would
should
be
be
like, you know what,
selective.
it would be.
I think
it
we
would
should
be
be
like
selective. We should be selective about who we decide to put on that cross.
So we would be.
Linz?
We would be like. I would equate it to like if somebody you knew was had, because this is mentally unwell people. Like that's all there is to it. There's something wrong.
They
And if
think
you
you're
look at-
mentally unwell too. That's
Well,
the
but if you
funny
look
thing
at
about this
if
whole
you look
process.
at if you look at the level and the statistics of actual mentally unwell people in this country, and look at it as a percentage wise,
Most of them are in Alberta?
It's very close.
There you
in
go.
numbers to
Shitting on the
where we are
fucking
with the
Albertan
anti-vax
again.
numbers, right? So. Let's just say, and I'm conflating that. I'm not even there's no clinical data to that, but I'm saying let's say it is. So let's say somebody commits suicide because they were mentally unwell. Do we dunk on them? No. So these people have been brainwashed, which is a mental impairment, is being brainwashed by somebody else.
I think we have our answer.
I think you're right. I think I need to stop. I need to stop.
I think it's for
With
your
the
own mental
over-
health too. I
Well,
think
I
you're
sort
really
of
good
do.
at telling us that this doesn't bother you, but I think it does. And I
doesn't,
know
really.
Broaden
I
it
think
a
what
bit.
bothers him is that it bothers others.
Broaden it a second and think about like if you're in an office and there's 10 people sitting there and the fire alarm goes off and you can smell smoke and 9 of you get up to get out and one person's there like, you guys are fucking idiots. You're fucking stupid. They're 9 people are just right. We know we're right. We know that the majority of everybody in this is right. That guy's on his own and he dies in the fire. We'd be like, fuck, that was stupid. He should have just got up and got out. I know, but you know how he thinks. Old fucking Bob there, or Terry never fucking does anything anybody says because he thinks the fire alarm's rigged and the fucking the fire department is all on the take and they probably
I always
set the
Terry.
fire.
I
And
always got a Terry as the
Terry, I love it.
You-
Thank
you know what I
You
mean?
can
So-
continue.
But
You have
Terry
my full
actually
support on
thinks
the
that
Terry.
those 9 people were smelling burnt toast and all having strokes, and he was the only
Yeah.
normal one out of the
he was the
bunch,
only
right?
normal one that died in that fire because he
We had this
wouldn't
in our building the other day. The fire alarm.
He
went
wouldn't
off.
accept objective reality, right?
Right.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And,
we don't need, and I think that's the answer. I think that, first of all, and let me back up, Locke, doesn't bother me at all. Like, I've worked really hard on that aspect of like things I can't control to not care about, and I legitimately don't care. But people brought up a fucking decent point. Like, am I living the values that I espouse? Actively, I put them aside to make sure I talk about those people. I put them over here. I'm like, let's take your values and put them over here. I'm not perfect. I'm human. Everybody else.
Yeah.
But I think that we can do those stories. I just don't think that we need to celebrate them. And I know that I put celebrate in the title. So I want
maybe
to
that.
tell
Yeah,
everybody.
But it felt good.
I just hate. I hate
Oh,
it.
it felt good.
I also don't want to become the people that, okay, yeah, we'll talk about them. That's not who we are, and that's not what we deliver. And everybody that reads our stuff and watches the show, that's not what they're here for.
We should save it for the grifters, and save it for the ones that are profiting off of people like that.
I like it.
You know?
Yeah. Or the ones that are driving more people.
We're setting parameters on being shitty people.
No, we're setting parameters so we know where to cage the shitty people and pretend they're not human beings. That's all it is.
Can I throw out a couple of examples? Because I'm with Locke on this one. Let me throw out a couple samples. Okay, let me just wait.
We should jot this down.
What happens if Chris Sky dies? What are you
Oh,
guys
full
going to do?
Wait, we'll call it Dunker Pass. Let's play
He's
Dunker
like
Pass.
literally the head on one side of the
Dunker Pass.
spectrum. He's the head on one side of the spectrum, and Ava Marie Ava May, unfortunately, is on the other side, where you take a pass on that side and you go full force on the other side, right? Like,
I like this game. Dunker Pass.
Dunker Pass.
Okay, let's play
Chris
Okay,
Dunker
we're
Pass.
dunking Chris Sky.
All right.
Okay, these are dead
I'm
people
writing
or
this.
people who might die, and would we dunk on their death or would we pass on dunking on their death? Let's go with Chris Sky, who today blamed the vaccine on Bob Saget's death on the vaccine.
dunk.
Dunk or pass?
Dunk. Lachlan?
We're all dunking. I thought we
Okay.
we already covered that.
No, just check. It's a vote.
That was a
right?
gimme.
So we got to figure out which
That was
one.
the
Which side
practice
wins.
round to make sure we all said dunk properly.
Okay. Let's go back. What about this lady who did die? Dunk or pass? Pass?
She was not a leader.
I think we
pass.
already dunked. So for the sake of not throwing Dean underneath the bus,
He threw himself
Let's
under the bus.
Let's dunk it.
I'm gonna go
All right.
pass.
All right, you're passing.
We've
You got three
established-
dunks and a
hold on.
pass.
where
Okay,
are
bring
we
it
with if there were just shitty people?
That's
see,
a
I don't know
personal
anything
thing.
about this woman except for what you wrote about her. What is she? She has a
Okay,
daughter
I'm
that misses her.
protesting
got a good
outside
one.
of schools.
I got a good one.
I'm a dunker.
Dean,
I got
those
one more
kids.
before we get to that one.
Dean, those kids that we had on the New Year's special.
Mhm.
Dunk or pass?
Pass.
Pass.
Right. They're
They
still
were like two little
anti-vaxxers.
kittens. That
Oh,
was the
I don't care if
weirdest
someone's
interview.
not an
We haven't talked
anti-vaxxer.
about that
I
interview.
care if someone's complete raging piece of shit. Those
Okay,
people
but
aren't
I'm
pieces of
just
shit.
showing the balance here. That was kind of like the tear of the
It
scale,
makes
right?
Chris Sky a double windmill 360 dunk because of how horrible he was to those little kittens. Because they were such kittens. I swear to God, that couple, they were like, were they minis? Like they seemed like they were like
Little cute people.
But they were the ones that get their fucking minds melted by assholes like Chris Sky, right? So
Okay,
Exactly.
I've got another sample.
I got to step
I've got
away for
another-
1 sec. Sorry, guys.
Well, I got another sample. You guys will know who this is. Locke won't. Anti-vax lawyer, noted anti-vaxxer, Rocco Galati, who I'm hearing passed away today.
that's what I heard too, but I don't think it's been confirmed 100%. But I heard
Of
the same
COVID.
thing you did. Yeah.
Dunker pass.
I'm Duncan because he's been around for a long time, spreading a lot of really crazy shit.
And
So-
he was at those rallies speaking and telling people to stand up against the tyranny
so we're
and
dunking
the
on
communists.
this guy. We're dunking.
that
He's a
guy
lawyer.
that guy is responsible. Okay, you know how many times I've heard someone tell me about that conspiracy about how when we're born, our value as a human being goes on the New York stock market somehow.
He's
And
one of
that-
those guys.
He is like the godfather of those guys.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Is he really? I
yeah.
didn't know that.
He's the one
Yeah.
that says that. He's the one that says that you could set up like a fenced area in like Saskatchewan, and as long as you print your own currency, it's totally legit. I swear to God.
So
Did
this
somebody
guy,
else
Locke,
do the
you stepped
bar
away
test?
from it. Ontario anti-vax lawyer Rocco Galati hearing today that he has passed away from COVID after being intubated and put on a ventilator a couple days ago. Represents all the anti-vaxxers, and this was from Action for Canada, the Freedom Group. They said her name's Tanya Gosh. She said you may have heard that Rocco's in ICU. Information's correct. Rocco is stable, now receiving top care thanks to his wife. And then someone says wife, and I'm like, oh, should we be dunking on this guy? But this is a hard dunk. Like everybody has said dunk because this guy, like, he's like one of the worst purveyors of misinformation, and he's a lawyer. And don't know if it's true. Don't quote me on it. I know he was sick in the hospital, but apparently, from what I'm hearing, died today.
Yeah, this is like a Dennis
Why
Rodman
am I hearing a bell?
putback slam. That's what that one is.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I've got some ambient music in the back.
Okay, because I was upstairs yelling at my wife to stop ringing a bell.
Just who is that the death toll bell? Is that
like,
what you did?
Why are you ringing a bell? She's like,
is it
what
is it sexy time? Is that the signal for sexy time?
Lachlan's blacking out.
It sounded like it was coming from upstairs.
I was playing the toll rings
for people. The
bell
tolls.
Oh, okay.
You
should have given me a heads up. I wouldn't have gone upstairs.
Play something else, Dean. See if he
there
gets
it is again.
Jeez.
Deb!
I'm on the fucking show, Deb! I mean, why are you ringing a bell? She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
When you come up, bring your harmonica.
It's Tuesday. It's the 4th or something.
So, once again,
I don't know. I don't know enough about this guy to dunk on him, but I really like basketball, so let's dunk him.
Yeah, dunk him. He's taking advantage of it.
Oh, he gets a layup.
You know,
how about that one?
Guys, I'm trying to have a serious conversation as to whether or not we should stop making fun of
We didn't
dead
make it 3
Vaxxers.
fucking minutes into
And
this
you guys
fucking
are like,
conversation.
let's just keep
I
dunking.
got no karma in this game.
Guys, we're trying to have a very serious discussion about whether or not we want to dunk on dead people. So come on.
We didn't make it 3 fucking minutes into this. I love that
Celebrity
word.
death pool. I do it like we're round 15.
Okay, I got one. Mother Teresa. Because I am dunking on that bitch. I got to tell you. Like, I'm serious.
James wants all the popes and all the...
She was an awful human being. She profited off suffering.
Yeah.
She profited off suffering. She never medicated these people that stayed at her little orphanage of sick people. She just was like, suffering is godly. And she just fucking just watched people suffer. Read the Missionary Position by Christopher Hitchens about her life. He called it the missionary position because that's how it was.
That's what these people follow that. It's these ultra right wing Christians that think that, oh, I'll just suffer through it. I'm fine. Jesus will save me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're just gonna die.
They think suffering's like the key to getting into heaven too. That's the other thing about those crazy
because this place
fuckers.
means nothing to them.
No.
Where we are now is fucking. This is nothing. They're
well,
waiting
and if
for
that's the
eternal
case,
life,
guys,
you know?
guys, if that's the case, and they want to go to heaven, and they go to heaven,
we should be celebrating it.
Back to the fucking dunking again.
See? This is the circle I keep talking about.
Celebrating. I mean, I'd laugh at it because like the worms that eat these corpses are not. They have nothing to do with Jesus or heaven, right? Like they're not.
Well, at least they won't be dirty with the vaccine.
That is a tricky one,
Fauci
right?
juice.
Like it's. I think we're all pre-wired to handle it a certain way, right?
Expect to be worm food, and if something happens after you're dead, you're like, oh,
you're gonna be worm food.
Did you guys?
Yeah,
did you guys read a lot about Norm Macdonald's passing?
A little bit.
Okay, the one thing that really shocked me about Norm was that he it was well known in his friends group that he was constantly forever panicking about his death.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he used to think that he was going to get whacked by casino owners.
Yeah.
Seriously. That was one of the big things. He had so many gambling debts apparently that that whenever he would go to Vegas, he would like, I'm not sure if I should go there. I owe them like 125K.
Yeah, but
and he thought he was going to end up in the back of a caddy one day.
To Locke's point, he had an unnatural fear of death, right?
Yeah,
and I did too
I
for a
think
long time. Oh, for probably one of the things, and as well as cancer. But
I think he gave it to himself. I honestly do. I think my father-in-law he gave himself brain cancer. We found his thesis from university, and it was all, and he was one of the most hardwired guys I'd ever met. Like he was on edge, and he died at 48 from brain cancer. And his entire thesis was about stress and brain cancer and how it's going to kill you.
Maybe he was just clairvoyant.
I don't know, but you hear that stories about people that stress too much and they die from cortisol. But like about 3 years ago, I went on this fucking massive journey to like demystify death. I had to figure it out because I was just fucking one of those afraid dudes, right? Afraid of dying, afraid of getting injured, afraid of the end of your life. And you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And so I really believe death is just an extension of life, which is why I'm flippant about it, right? I don't hold it to be this crazy thing that everybody fears. I was like, I just think it's that next step into whatever happens next, which I can't describe, right? I do know this meat sack is going to be worm food, just like this lady is currently worm food. Like every single one watching this podcast is going to be worm food. And that's comforting to me because I don't think people realize how big the fucking universe is and that you're not it's the law of nature. You're going to die. And so when you embrace it, you understand it, and then you can be more flippant about the whole thing, right? And that's why I live a fairly happy life. And when people hammer me on Twitter, I'm like, whatever, because it doesn't matter. We're all fucking going to die. Like Alexander the Great. The world wasn't big enough for that guy. Guess what happened? In the end, a coffin was, right? Every single fucking person here is going to die. And that's a fact. And so it doesn't bug me, which is why I talk like I talk about that.
You know how you always have those people that say, oh, I saw the white light, because the ones that are dead for like 2 minutes to 10 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If that ever happened to me where I like died for 4 minutes, I'd come back and I'd be like, holy fuck. They just torture you forever in the afterlife. I was being tortured for 4 minutes in the afterlife. You guys better not fucking die. And just see if I can cause a whole bunch of heart attacks from people that are paranoid that I'm telling them the truth. Just to do my part, right?
I had a note on social media from a guy that was a big listener. I don't think he's listening anymore. And I can't remember the specifics of it, but I remember not so much celebrating, but I was on the air. I was flippant about somebody's death that was an anti-vaxxer, or somebody who died, anti-vaxxer. Somebody died. It was in the summer, and he wrote me this long thing in the middle of the night. And I don't know this guy well. I know him enough to know that I think he has some mental illness. Like he's struggling with some stuff, right? He's a single dad and life is hard. And anytime there was any kind of a local cause or story or anything like that, he very, very impacted by his surroundings. And would want me, like, did you hear about this story? This young lady got attacked. Da, 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 da. Like he was that guy. So lots of feelings kind of guy, right? But hardworking, burly, works outside with his hands like a man's man. And I remember I said something on the air, and he wrote me. Took him a couple of days to get it out, but he wrote me this 4-page letter. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember in the summer when I was like really starting to struggle with what the fuck is the point of this? Are we having any difference? Should we just be reevaluating how we're presenting this information? That was around that time. That letter really, really impacted me. And I've been able to, not so much from a change how I approach things, but from the perspective of death. The fact that I made light of somebody dying, anybody dying, he lost all respect for me, and told me, I will never listen to your show again or watch anything of yours online. Nothing, because of a comment, and it was a one-off, like flippant little comment.
Yeah, because he's afraid of death. Every single person, when you go, oh, that person died, they go, you crushing evil piece of shit. I was like, you don't understand death then. And you're not cool with it. Like, you're not cool with that being an inevitability in your life. It's like you're running away from inevitability, which to me says, and is generally why these people are not vaccinated. Like, generally it's why. Is that these people are so fucking afraid that the vaccine's going to kill them and COVID's going to kill them. They're in this gap of no man's land. Now, listen, Those are the people I don't want to make their lives worse, which is why I wanted to have this conversation, right? Dunk or no dunk. Are we dunking on people who are dying or are we not? And I think you're right. I think it's got to be reserved for the worst of the worst individuals whose lives absolutely represented how fucking exactly we should feel about what they did before they left.
There's grifters, right? There's dictators.
Yeah.
There's like murderers. There's my stepmother. There are people that have. The world would be a better place if she was dead.
It's the people that are intentionally getting in the way and intentionally trying to make the world a worse place by
profit off of
or profit from the suffering of others.
Let's break that down. Do you think your mother-in-law thinks she's a horrible person?
My
stepmother, you mean?
Your stepmother. Sorry.
I don't think she cares if she is, but I think that I don't think she would ever consider herself nice.
Do you think she's self-aware enough to know that
she's violent, right? She's violent. She's like she's an abuser. She's a drug addict and an alcoholic, and she served time for attempted murder. And she's just a fucking. She's like Satan's cunt if it was pussing. You know?
She probably knows. She probably knows.
She's an icy,
she probably has an
avenging
idea
demon.
that she's Satan's cunt, right? Like I don't know.
I'm also pretty
example.
Sure she's the author. She's the author
right?
of half of the comments we get on this website.
I would rather Chris Sky be my roommate, and knowing my stepmother was dead if I did that, than not have that. Right?
That's a statement.
If you're beginning to understand how I feel.
Back to what Lachlan's saying, and to identify what you're saying, there have been moments, and today wasn't really one of those. Like, listen, was it a moment? Like, do I feel bad that I said it? No, I don't. But to your point, like, it made me think today. That's why I'm having the conversation. Like, should we be using death as an opportunity ever to go, told you so?
I don't think so. And here's why I don't think we should.
Ever?
And I mean, joking, like all the dunking and passing aside.
Lachlan Cross, who like 4 minutes ago dunked on a couple of deaths. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I just got excited. You guys got me.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to be part of the team.
Mob mentality.
Peer pressure.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch Ryan. He's like, he's the same height as me. If he's dunking, I want to be able to dunk too. Okay.
Sorry, James.
So
hey, listen, I'm jumping off your backs to get over that rim. Jesus Christ.
I think what this conversation, what I keep trying to bring into the conversation is this idea that death is just, it's different to everyone. And if I felt, Dean, honestly, and listen, I think that you bring a lot of value to people's lives. So don't misconstrue this as me saying that what we do or what you do doesn't have any meaning, because I think it does. In this arena of vaccines and this COVID conversation, I don't think you're having any impact. I don't think you're having a positive impact on anybody's life, one way or the other. I think
it's entertaining for some, but I think the net benefit is not what we think it is. That's
it's zero. It is. You're
Makes
right.
sense.
It's zero. And because of that, I think we should maybe reevaluate whether or not we do it on this program or not, unless we think it can be a lot of fun.
We just have to be selective, honestly.
Unless we're going to have a really good time with it.
Yeah, like if Chris Guy gets like smoked by it, like, or something weird happens to
him. You mean
like
when he ODs? But go on.
Like, let's say he gets hit by a car, like running naked out of a building or something. Like,
that's right.
And he gets smoked by I'm gonna have a hard time not finding some
masturbating
in that demise.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you put something out, when you put a blog post up or it's, a social media post, that's what I've been going through the last 6 months longer. What's the point of this? Like, is this like, if you're entertained by it, then keep doing it. If that's
I am, but Ken makes a good point. You can go to our comments section, watch it on YouTube at Dean Blundell Show or Dean Blundell TV on Twitch. He's like, when you start making fun of Bruce Arthurs of the world, who seems to get massive wood over doomsday scenarios, wants me to make fun of him. Chris Guy and Bruce Arthur are equally as disgusting to me. But prior to that comment, he made a great point, and this is sort of why I'm asking the question too, because I'm like, do we keep riding the same bike?
Yeah.
We're kind of becoming really, really, really boring dunking on this every day. And that's kind of where I'm at. It was like, okay, let's go through the existential exercise of trying to figure out whether or not all death is equal. I think we figured out it isn't. I'm better for that. I think we all are too. But let's all try to get better and fucking feed people different content. Like, we haven't talked about Bob Saget and his cause of death. Has anybody else?
We're doing that. We do that. And when we've gone overboard on a topic, I think to a man, everybody on this podcast in the DMs has said, I know I've seen Ryan do it. I mean, subtle mentions like, hey, do we want to move off of that today and do this? You know, like I think we all have. And I think we know when we're beating a dead horse. We can feel it.
But we're also not all doing it. So we're offering variety, I think, on the site. You know, like I didn't come around until like what 5 days ago when it came to othering the anti-vaxxer, because I always thought that if we wanted them to take the vaccine, then maybe mocking them wasn't the right way to go, for lack of better words, right? And I was saying that in like 2020 in the spring.
Yeah, I remember.
And then it was like, I don't know, like maybe I'm guilty of being kind of a hypocrite myself, but like I just lost my endurance for the struggle of trying to actually have a conversation with people that don't want to hear it. Like, it was like, I tried, I literally tried for almost 2 years and it just didn't work.
And so here's how I summarize this whole thing. My theory is this, is that all things are not equal. So because all things are not equal, we take bodies of work into account, right? Look at the body of work, Chris Guy, look at the body of work of 5-year-old Ava May. Those lives are not the same. They don't have the same value to anybody. No. Like, you're ridiculous if you think they do.
One embodies innocence and the other doesn't. Right?
Same thing with someone who is like, who stands in front of schools and yells at kids saying you're going to die if you get the vaccine. Cirsten Wheldon, who passed away, QAnon thing. Life isn't worth much to me, and that's my sliding scale. And someone's like, you got a trolley problem, which is like an ethics thing that people don't understand. And my ethics are not the same as everybody else's ethics, because I look at life and death very, very differently, right? So that's what. When I finally kind of settled on how I felt about today and wanted to have this conversation, I thought it was really important to have this conversation based on the merits of each individual person. But at the same time, I'm getting fucking tired of it. Not the hate and the blowback. I rarely get it. I just got a bunch over the last couple of days, which is no big deal. I could care less.
Yeah, no big deal.
There's got to be a more sorry for the guy handling my Twitter account. Okay. Sorry, Rhino. Sorry, buddy. But can we be better? There's
I think
question.
We always can be.
And can we try, right?
I'm glad we did this.
If we stopped or we sat here and said that we were doing the best we could, then we would be wrong. And I think you're right.
Great. You guys are all getting better and I'm getting worse. This is not going to work.
The other thing,
James, we finally got you. Now we're leaving.
Yeah. The other thing,
hold the rope.
The other thing worth pointing out is that we're coming to some sort of conclusion here.
Yeah.
Next week, we will probably break any rule or anything we've come to
those corpses aren't going to dunk on themselves, Lachlan, right?
We tried it with Dunker Pass. We couldn't even get through 3 of those.
We got through 4 actually. 4, and we only passed on 1. Like, we just I
was having too much fun dunking.
It's going to be a game we got to play from now on, because I don't know if we should be dunking or passing. I think it's an individual thing, but I don't think it's an overall tone we should be setting, is my point.
No, but there's also going to be times where it's like, we want to dunk on him. We want to dunk. Like, if Jussie Smollett died, I'd probably want to dunk on him, because he did this whole hate crime hoax and then tried to ride it out forever. And I think that it's like, I don't want him dead, but if he died, I'd dunk on him. But
I don't think that's a dunkable offense.
But then I'd be a racist.
I see there's so many other people that lie and like cheat and stuff like that. I'm like, I look at Jussie Smollett like he's just a fucking entertaining story. I wouldn't want him to die.
I don't want him to die, but dunking isn't the act of wanting.
I wouldn't dunk on him
it's the act of not caring.
He's like, Jussie Smollett is a pass for me.
Okay.
Well, I understand what James is saying. I totally get it.
Aaron O'Toole this week, did you see he was like, we need to make accommodations for anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
You see that?
Well, that's him regretting the pivot to the center, right? He's regretting that now. He's like, fuck, I didn't think they did.
Right.
Like, dude, half your party voted for Bernier to be fucking leader, like what, fucking 4 years ago? Mm-hmm. You know, and you were surprised that when you moved to the center that you lost a whole shit ton of support?
But if he died, we're dunking, right? Kinda.
On the home hardware manager? I don't know. Like,
He does look like that, doesn't he? Like if I saw
and
him
you
at
stole
Rona,
my
I'd
bead
go
joke.
ask
You
him
stole my
where
bead
the-
joke a few days ago,
Hey,
Dean, because I had
I'm
said it
looking
like
for
a
a
year ago
paintbrush.
that Aaron O'Toole looks like Jack Layton stung by a bee. Remember? On the cover
And
of
the
that
lady
magazine because he looked a
The
little
lady
swollen.
that I
was
tweeted,
good.
I didn't. It must have been subconscious. I don't
No,
remember
that's
that,
fine.
but
I
now
don't think
do.
you actually stole it. Yeah.
Yeah, lady that went and saved Kevin J. Johnson from the wild streets of Montana. She looked like she got stung by a bee. Looks like Laura Ingraham got stung
Laura
by
Ingram
multiple
got
bees.
stung by multiple bees. I was dying.
That was so funny.
So, all right, Kevin
So do
J.
we-
Johnson. Kevin J. Johnson. If he would have died of hypothermia in those woods.
Dunk City
Oh,
Dunk
come on.
City,
You
right?
have to dunk on that.
between
right?
the legs.
You'd hurt your fingertips because they'd be black with
If I'm in the
frostbite.
same pool, I might actually help dunk him.
Oh,
He's-
Kevin Johnson, what'd you say? Oh, you're east of 24th? Yeah, he said he's west of 24th.
He's not here. He's way over there.
Yeah.
Has he
Wearing
posted
bright
any
orange, he
pictures
No.
of his like
surgery.
of his
Frostbite
nose
surgery? No.
Frostbite
Looking
surgery?
like Artie Lang now.
Speaking of which, back to the Saget thing. Have we heard anything about
Nothing.
his cause of death? Nothing.
No.
It,
I had
it
it
just
mixed
that
up
it
this
wasn't
morning.
drug related and
No foul play.
and no
Heart
foul
attack.
play is the only two things that I read in the story.
The only thing
Yeah, that's
the only
good.
thing I got, and I think Grant actually this morning corrected me. Artie Lang put a big tribute out on Instagram and was asking for donations to the Scleroderma Foundation, but apparently, I guess his daughter it was his sister has it.
Sister had
So,
that.
that's
Something to do
right.
with- yeah, I don't
So
know
he might
much
have just
about
been
that
an
disease.
advocate for that. I don't know if Bob had it though.
It's a thing, right? Like, no one controls it, right? I was thinking about that today. And then the other thing is how weird it was. And I know Ryan mentioned this, that, we lost Norm Macdonald last year. We talked about that earlier. Lost Bob Saget yesterday. So weird. He played a show the night before in Jacksonville. It just dies overnight at a new hotel in Orlando. And Artie Lang's still around.
That's fucking
Out of that
amazing.
three, that trilogy of guys,
Right.
Vegas must be fucking raking it in today on death pools because I would have
Well,
thought.
look at the Eagles. Glenn Fry's family must be just going, what? Fucking Joe Walsh is still alive? What's going on?
Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones. same
Charlie
thing.
Watt.
Charlie Watt.
The only gentleman drummer in the history of the game.
How
the
the
one
fuck did he
Rolling
die
Stone
first?
that had it all together.
Yeah.
Fucking Keith
People
Richards is still flying.
waited to shit on the Stones until Charlie died.
Yeah.
Now they're all
like,
over it. Yeah.
And Paul's definitely going to go before Ringo. Ringo has to be the last Beatle, right? Like that's
true.
the only way that will make sense. It's like, oh, look at here.
Well, we were talking about that in our own social circles here in Edmonton because there was a gathering. We'll leave it at that
God.
on Sunday, and it may or may not have been one that was allowed or whatever. Let's just say it wasn't a smart gathering, and certain individuals ended it up at said party and there was a conversation about Army Chris not getting COVID and everybody else getting. He since has tested positive for COVID, and I said, you know what though, that's how this works. That's the way the world works.
Yeah.
The guy that drinks 20 beers a day, goes to the same fucking party, could have ass sex with half the building, and he's going to leave there with not having COVID. But everybody else got it. Like that's the world.
You get COVID from ass sex?
I don't know.
Well, that's probably why the
using it as a
swabs work the
horrible
best
ex-
there.
Yeah.
That's where the
Yeah.
COVID lives, I guess.
That's true, yeah. You can for sure get it from ass sex. That's right. Yeah, that's why in China they're like
Doesn't COVID fly around in your farts?
No,
I've
yeah, it
heard
does.
that.
It flies around in your farts.
Like if I have COVID,
There
love
he goes. It only took fucking 10 seconds. Good job, Dean. That was great.
Gone. Yeah.
if you've got COVID and you're like, you're firing COVID around the room.
You're farting COVID into the room for sure. All smells are particulate.
I was
and,
just going
it's
to use
aerosolized.
that.
Shit molecules.
But apparently, like in China, what they do when you come over, if you're like a tourist, like lots of places I'd go on tour. That wouldn't be one of them. But if you're a tourist who wants to go to China, when you land, they make you get the anal swab instead of the nose or the throat
No,
swab.
hold on. Is that
Fuck off.
that's not true?
Ryan?
That can't be true.
Let me look it up. You guys talk, and I'll see if I can
That's
find
sex-
it.
Can you
Sexual assault.
pick it? Like, can you when you land, can you go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
You know, the real dirty birds are
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
the real dirty birds are picking both.
Yeah.
And guess which one they're
I
doing
would
first?
I'd be getting off the plane and just be grabbing my ankles.
I'll take
Dude,
the
I
A
got
to
it right
L.
here.
Get in there.
I got it right here. You guys can fucking call me
That's
a naysayer
bullshit.
or call me a liar. Everybody call me a liar on Twitter.
No, the
today.
problem is I'm going to
Everybody.
China most
not
likely in 2022.
Well,
course you
congratulations.
I
Congratulations.
really am.
Guess what's going in your asshole?
Yeah,
I guess
they're
it-
going to pull out the big swab for you.
Fact box. This is from Reuters. China's anal test for coronavirus upsets visitors.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Foreign visitors have been upset by China's anal swab test for COVID-19, prompting complaints of inconvenience and even psychological trauma.
They're so polite.
And stoking the debate over their necessity.
I find this very inconvenient.
I am very much against what I'm about to say, but if I have to do that, there's a good chance I'm just pushing and hoping that something flies out of my ass while they do it. You know, like
Then you'll go to jail for 5 years and get beat with bamboo
5
sticks.
years?
Yeah,
You go
that's what they do.
for spitting that. I
What?
imagine what
Hold
shitting
on.
is.
If you
Dude, in China,
accidentally
you
shit
cannot
on the
spit
guy
on the
giving you
ground.
an
You gotta
anal
go to jail.
swab, that's not worthy of prison.
It's China. Everything's worthy of prison in China.
It's China.
Plus, not only that, here's the problem with that.
What's
is
the
how
law
long
on the
is
book
the
here?
flight to
It's
China?
China.
How long is the flight? I'm 25 drinks in. Like, I've got loose bowels. You do not want to be going in there with anything.
Oh, if I have to fly to China and it looks like I might have to, like in the late spring, early summer.
Why are
I'm
you
prob-
going to
have
China?
to?
I fucking need to hear this story.
Journalist.
For a project, I'm probably doing heroin on the flight. Like I'm just not needles,
Wow.
but I'll be swallowing some shit so that I can just sleep like a baby for like 16, 17, 18 hours, whatever it is. I am not sober on that flight, but I don't drink, so I have to do something. There's no way.
Yeah, it's called Ativan. Get a whole bunch of it. Take two.
Call the
You'll
doctor.
fucking
Get some
wake up when you
sleeping
get there.
pills.
Does it mingle well with Adderall? No.
Why do we
Yeah,
got to go
it does.
that far?
Yeah. Just take a
What are
bunch
the
of
two
drugs.
extremes?
I'm shooting something there.
Yeah.
Seems
heroin.
I'm telling you,
bad
you're
idea.
going to get an anal swab when you get there, though. So have fun.
It happens.
You know
I
what?
love
You're
that we've
there.
got-
You're there. Accept it. Enjoy it. Crack a couple jokes. Ask if it smells like camping down there. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Camping?
I've had a
Hey,
couple of
bud.
shits that
Hey,
smell
bud.
like barbecue.
Hey, Bob.
Maybe I'll call a girl and just get her to talk to me, you know, in a certain way while they do it. And then I can just sort of like,
I had one recently that had like definite mesquite.
It had notes, did it?
Very Texas barbecue-y in here.
Smells like Adamson's.
if this was 10 years ago, they'd swab my ass and a condom full of Coke would have fallen out or something, you know? Like,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Make sure that you don't tell that story to anybody at the.
I've never actually had a condom of Coke in my bum, but I'm just saying.
At customs when you land in Beijing. This makes me fucking think. Do you think we should be going to the Olympics right? Like that's what blows my mind now. Too.
I don't
what
think
I'm saying.
James
Going to
should
the
be
fucking
going
Olympics.
to China. You're never coming home. Will they let you do the podcast from that hole they pee on you from?
I talked to one girl that I know that lives there, and I was like, "So what's going on with this Uyghur thing?" She's like, "Dude, I can't fucking talk about that with you. If they're listening right now, they're like, you know, if they're reading my shit right now, I could get kicked out of the country." And I'm like, "Oh, I
Who
didn't know
goes to China? Like, what is wrong with you?
No idea.
that. People that
Yeah.
want to get paid money to do stuff go to China sometimes."
That's dumb. That's the last country. I'm not even going to travel to
I
the
heard
United
Hortons was
States of
hiring.
America anymore.
I'm not going to China to break some story, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll
Just going to China to do a story on China. But yeah, so when you get there, that's my point. You're going to have the anal.
Well, they do treat journalists
Swab.
from Canada very well there, so have a good
Yeah.
time.
listen. I'm
Yeah,
a journalist in
couple-
Canada. I'm used to having someone shoving something up my ass
That's
before
exactly
actually
what
giving
I'm
me a job.
saying, Ryan.
I'm with you,
What do
Locke.
Do you know why they're bringing you over? So they can arrest you.
I got this great idea. Why don't you like
I'm gonna-
Zoom?
why would they arrest
They got
me?
Zoom over there.
Yeah,
don't
why
they?
don't you do a Zoom meeting?
Even
I
buy
would
the
do a Zoom
premium
meeting.
one.
You can't go on location.
Get a cool
when you're
background.
Do you remember
on
that?
Zoom.
Remember those two guys that went over there a couple years ago and didn't come back for 2 years? I think their names were both Michael. Remember that?
Yeah, they got out of it. I'd write a book while I was in there. You know, it'd be
And
great.
something
Don't
tells
worry
me
about it.
those guys
It'll be
were
fine.
probably a lot more polite than you. So I don't
Yeah.
know how well this
Oh,
is
yeah.
going to go.
You.
Yeah,
I love
polite.
you, but
That's a
I
good
only
point.
say
Ryan.
this
Thanks.
because I love you.
dude.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You are. They don't like libertarians in
You
China. I'm just
Okay,
letting
first
you
of
know.
all,
you
guys,
just talked about doing heroin on the plane. You're
Yeah.
the wrong
So what?
guy to go to China.
and coke in my ass, but they're not listening to this. But the point is that I am not like just going to be all abrasive. Like, guys, I've got, I have a certain skill set that allows me to be sort of a chameleon of sorts and to blend in when I need to blend in certain areas. And I am not going to fuck up this trip by being like, hey, did you get stuck too? Like, I'm not going to be like the idiot that's going to be doing shit like that.
Bonzi.
Right? I was just speaking in a context that was.
Can you afford us the same respect as you would a Chinese government official?
Can you, Rook?
No, I can't. I'm afraid that is not part of my skill set.
Hey, Rook, if you're listening, producer behind the scenes, please mark this one because we're going to need to remember which one we talked about him going to China and saying it was a fucking bad idea when he gets arrested.
The CBC is going to want this for clips.
I'm going to come back and the Chinese are going to have me on fucking the news, but it's going to be in a good way, and then I'm going to come back.
Can you imagine he goes over? Let's just, I don't want
First of all, can I just point out, I've never been in jail or charged with something sinister or anything like that. And I've never been taken by authorities of a different country. So go ahead.
You know what the headline's going to be? Headline's going to be world's largest Canadian arrested for being a spy.
Largest?
While you're in China.
While you're in China, you're a big dude.
Massive.
Okay. I really want to paint this scenario. Can you imagine?
I can't
want
wait.
some music?
Yes.
James gets
please.
on the
some
plane.
scenario music.
Let's have some fictional Lachlan stories music, please.
Here's some scenario music.
James gets on the plane, does some illegal drugs contraband to put himself to sleep. Wakes up. He's a bit disoriented. Goes through security. He's got to go through the anal swab. Gets into some sort of disagreement with somebody at immigration in China.
When
gets thrown into jail, and then the Canadian government is calling on us for the audio of this program, and then they got to sit down and listen to this.
It would never happen. You know what? The only time I ever accidentally brought drugs on a plane, and it's happened 3 times, right? But it was all. Well, hold on. It was all accidental.
This is exactly what I'm saying. You're going to jail.
No. Well, one time it wasn't an accident, but the other 2 times were total freak accidents. I'd be on the plane. I'd be like, oh my God, I have a half an 8-ball. Well, this is awesome. Coming back from Miami or something. And the only time I actually snuck weed on a plane was in my socks when I went from Vancouver to Toronto. But other than that, I'm not going to go to a foreign country and have drugs on me. I'm going to try to come home with drugs.
You just cited 3 examples where you accidentally had drugs on you.
Yes, but 2 of them were domestic flights, and one of them I was coming back from Miami. So that could literally happen to anybody coming back from Miami.
And then after he said he accidentally did it twice, he fessed up and said one time was on purpose.
Yes, but that was weed, and I was 19. So
that's wow.
So I'm going to do the opiates.
Now I want you to go. Can you leave?
Yeah,
now?
no shit.
You know that space between where you say,
GoPro,
"Okay, have a good flight," and you walk in the arm, and you walk in the arm towards the plane. That's when I'm going to take whatever sedative or whatever the fuck. I'm going to take it there. I'm going to find 21B. I'm going to sit down, and I'm hopefully going to pass out and then wake up and fucking China. That's the plan.
Yeah, with 5 officers over you going, great podcast. Come with us.
Thank you.
What's inside your bum? Let's have a look.
I don't know.
We need
by
to
the way,
crawl
this
down into
anal
this
swab
hole so we
is,
can
we
piss
have
on you at noon every day.
Yeah.
And then you get your food.
Yeah. Called the wee hole.
I bet you the food in the prisons there are probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Can I get an extra spring roll over here? This is fantastic.
Sure.
They probably give you Americanized fucking Chinese food,
American
like chicken balls
Chinese
and shit.
takeout is what you're getting in jail.
Well, it's jail, so they want
Manchu
to give you
walk.
Chinese food, right? They're not going to give
This
you the
is
real deal.
nothing like Manchu. I demand to see the manager.
Your fortune cookie says you're never leaving.
Every day.
That's right. Hello again.
You get the odd one that says, make sure you vaccinate your bowels tonight. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what? Kind of not afraid of getting raped in a Chinese prison. Just saying.
Apparently.
Okay, I think we've hit every stereotype. Good. I was keeping check here on the list.
Ryan,
and
that's
we
not
got them
what
all.
I meant. Actually, that's exactly what I meant.
He's just a gamer.
Dude, you can't live like this. I would never go to Pakistan or Saudi Arabia for some reason, but I'd go to China.
China's on your list. Unbelievable. You are.
Dude, I have a friend that went to Dubai for like Christmas, and I'm like, how was the trip? It's like, it was incredible.
That's United Arab Emirates. I'd go to Dubai.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, to me, it's like, the whole Sharia law thing, not allowed to drink. It's okay to beat your wives. Women can't drive. That kind of stuff. It's like, I wouldn't want to go and fucking hang out in a society like that. Same thing with China. It's like, where would you like to go? Brazil? Nope. China? Nope.
Not
Kelowna?
They're getting a lot.
Let's just go
more,
to Kelowna.
They're getting a lot more
Kelowna's
progressive
nice.
over there, though. The ladies are allowed to drive now.
Oh, in UAE? Are they?
Yeah,
Guys, I think we have to like understand that like
very progressive.
I'd go to Russia. I'd go to anywhere in Europe, virtually anywhere in Europe. I'd go to Russia. I'd go to China, Vietnam, all those places. I would avoid the Middle East like the fucking plague for some reason. Like I just would. It's not about necessarily the people, but the politics and the religion being fused together. I can't be a part of that.
That doesn't happen here.
Happening in China.
Yeah.
There is no religion in China. So literally, it's like the mothership of everything I believe in as far as religion goes, right? Like,
knock off a few Muslims while you're there.
Brenton sent us a comment in our comment section. Been to China 4 times. Wife's family's there. I've never been pro once. Well, you're not James.
Now, hold on, Brent. Have you gone in the last 2 years since COVID?
Yeah, during COVID.
Ken sends a comment. He's like,
gone?
if you don't think the Chinese are going to know everything about you before you get off that plane, well, drugs in your system is good enough for them.
It's a conspiracy theory. Come on.
I think you need to go. Don't listen to Ken.
Oh, shut up, Lachlan. I know what your motivation is.
Absolutely.
Tony Robbins, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't wait for you to get in fucking.
But the beauty part is, I would tell you
like this.
The beauty part is, I would tell you. I would tell you everything that happened to me, even if it was fucking horrible, even if it made everyone laugh at me. That doesn't matter to me.
Why?
Because
Why
what
do you
matters
think we
to me
want you
is
to go?
the
We're not trying to talk
authenticity
you
of
out of this.
Yeah, we
No, but if I go and nothing bad happens,
I was in
probably
Killaloo,
going to
I'd
be
be
a little
helping
bit
you
disappointed,
pack.
Lachlan.
Yeah, he might. I might be too.
Yeah, for the content. I get it.
Right. I'm only here for the content. I've said that like
We should start spelling content with a U. You know that, right?
Content?
Content, yes.
Content.
Own
That doesn't work.
Content, yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't say words like that. I'm nice now. No longer talking about dead people ever again.
Today.
Dunk or pass? Dunk.
Today.
There's gonna be one that's gonna creep up this week, and you're not gonna be able to handle it. You're not gonna be able to control it.
Yep.
Watch, I will.
One day
Let's
at a
have the
time.
countdown. Let's have the countdown.
Bait me
Ryan,
now too, aren't you? You're gonna bait
hit-
me. You're gonna bring like anti-vax death news stories into the
Hit the
podcast.
clock.
Like, Dean, dunk or pass, and I'm like,
Ryan,
we're passing.
hit the clock. Here we go.
We need to. We need a support group or some sort of a 12-step to get over this.
The one day at a time app.
It's running.
I'm just not going to be pointing out the obvious anymore when it comes to someone who refuses the vaccine in favor of God's will for their life and they die. I'm not going to say, hey, way to go, you're home. Congratulations. I just won't be saying that a lot anymore.
Did
sometimes a little.
Did you congratulate her in that article too?
Yeah.
You did.
Congrats. Yeah.
Right on the front,
Celebration
right on the headline, I
and
believe.
congratulations. It's odd people got so upset with you.
Yeah. Let me read this. Leading QAnon promoter who urged both her followers and strangers, she passed on the street not to take the COVID vaccine, died Thursday from coronavirus, COVID, making her the latest vaccine opponent killed by the disease. Cirsten Wheldon amassed tens of thousands of followers.
Name.
Not anymore. Right across social pro-Trump QAnon, Cirsten W., prominent enough to become a sort of QAnon interpreter for comedian conspiracy theorist Roseanne Barr and started recording videos about QAnon with her. Well, see, she's dead. You're laughing. You're terrible. Wheldon focused on attacking vaccines and other efforts to fight COVID in one video saying Anthony Fauci, quote, needs to be hung from a rope. She claimed the vaccine killed people and even recorded herself yelling at people standing in line to receive vaccines. Vaccines don't kill. They'll get it. You die. Wheldon warned Violet in December she started showing symptoms of coronavirus. In her latest video, she struggled through her remarks about the coming overthrow of the United States government, coughing and explaining that she was just exhausted. She's dead.
Speaking of struggling, I heard Dean trying to stifle the laughter through the entire read through, and I give you props for that.
I don't find it funny.
The Fauci thing, though, I want to bring this up before we go do anything else here. What do you think it is? So he's what, 81, 82, something like that now?
She wants to hang him.
He's been a doctor for 50 years.
I'll tell you exactly what it is.
What
it is.
Do you think
the pandemic documentary at the beginning of the pandemic was seen by millions and millions and millions of people, and that's where everyone stopped getting their information about Fauci. Seriously, if you've ever seen that documentary, it's pretty convincing.
Well, my question. Thanks for not answering the question I was asking. Let me ask it now. If you were a doctor and you started when you were 30.
Yeah.
Why would you wait until you were 80 to kill everybody and take over the world?
Well, it takes a while.
Like Fauci.
Like
why wouldn't it?
That's not what they think. They think he's enriching himself through vaccine patents.
But they also think that he's
80.
part of the machine.
No.
Yes, they do. These guys do.
They think he's been doing it for 30 years.
They think that he's part of the machine that has been planning this great genetic takeover.
Yeah.
So do you think he was like while he was part of that, was he pushing like back in like the 70s? Like, guys, I'm getting a little old here. Can I get some money now? And,
no,
like,
he was doing it in the 80s. They think with the AIDS
because he was a big
AIDS medication.
Yeah, he was. What was his role, James?
It turns out I did answer your question. His role apparently was owning the patents of these medications.
Thanks for lock-winning my question.
And then increasing the value of these patents by not allowing sick people to have them until a whole bunch of people died. That's what they think.
But they do have there is some proof about something with the AIDS medications that he was a part of, right? So there is...
He was one of 5 people that had an investment interest in the original AIDS viral medication.
And the question is, the reason why they keep throwing him under the bus is because it was kind of a bit of a conflict of interest, wasn't it? Because of the position he held within the medical community and also what he was doing, how he was benefiting financially.
So they think. So I don't know. I don't know how much of this is true versus like kernel of truth and dressed in a bunch of bullshit. But and this all comes from that documentary. I'm saying like this is where they all get their information from. And the whistleblower of that documentary was someone who apparently worked in the same lab as him, and he was her boss for like a decade.
Oh, it was a chick. Yeah, it was a woman. Who's been since like literally branded as mentally insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pandemic documentary is. I've watched it. It's literally just a bunch of crazy people going, "We know what's really happening."
But it's produced well.
For 40 years, well, of course.
So it had great music.
Right. So anyway, so that is why that is literally the beginning, the building blocks of the Fauci conspiracy is that documentary. That's why when Adam Scorgie was on, he was like, "I don't want to name this documentary. I don't want to give anybody the idea to go and seek it out." And they did ban it for a while too.
To your point, when I was celebrating the death of this lady who believed in all those things, right? Believed all the craziness and chose to die instead of get vaccinated. What I did say was, don't at me because of the headline. These cats hate science, live for the afterlife, don't give a shit about the greater good. They want vaccinated people to go to hell and think the vaccine's the mark of the beast, death is freedom, and this is just them crossing ye old finish line. That's what we're talking about here. Like those are the people that came after me today. They believe that, all of them. All of them.
It's kind of a pity there's no hell for them to go to, isn't it?
You know? It is a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
It's funny how none of them.
So that's
will
why
go
I'm
there.
okay with the dunkage.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean to look all pissed off. I wasn't pissed off.
No. I was having fun. It was fine. Okay. Yeah. Brent says it perfectly in the comment. It's just they. Everybody's they. That's my favorite word
We're never gonna
of this
figure out who
pandemic.
that
We don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are.
Well, nowadays it's a pronoun for one guy. One guy.
Yeah, but if you tell them it's a pronoun, then they get mad at you for pointing out it's a fucking pronoun.
Oh, they put it in their
right-wing people.
I have pronouns in my bio: you, your, me, mine, because I don't care. It's like a funny little way to go. Fuck the pronouns for me. Call me whatever you want. Yeah. And I got pounded from people this morning too. It was like, oh, one of those losers with pronouns. I'm like, you don't even understand a joke. That's how you're trying to make.
Yeah,
You're actually on their side of the joke almost, and they don't even fucking understand it. That's how fucking like it's like. Did your mother have any kids that lived? Like, you know, like could you fucking like anybody there? Like nothing. Just
You're
a
the
Twitter
part that
account
dribbled off your
and a
mom's
fucking
chin, aren't you?
barely a
Just admit
pulse. Idiots.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess it's just going to be a first come first serve basis for the dunkage. I get that. Know that's where we got here. I think I'm happy with it too. I'm happy that we hashed it out today.
You
I
know
think we
what's-
need to leave some of it behind.
That's kind of what that's what sucks about being polarized, like living in a polarized society where there's virtually two sides to almost everything, because that's all we talk about is one side or the other. Is that sometimes you agree with one side or the other, and it really sucks when that happens because you're surrounded by people that you don't respect. You know,
I've had that conversation multiple times with
Yep.
people, right? And unfortunately, everyone's very quick to put you in a camp, right?
The middle's
And-
gone. The middle is
yeah,
gone.
the middle
There's-
is
it's extreme
completely
this or
eroded,
extreme-
right?
the
Yep.
weird part is that the middle is the biggest, just the quietest.
Yeah,
All of
just
us.
the quietest. Yeah, we
Yeah,
just want-
I think that, like, I was thinking about it today. I believe that we're the mouthpiece for the middle, but I also think that sometimes we get so aggressive that people think that we're a mouthpiece
We're
for the
extreme.
far or whatever side
Yeah.
that they want us to hear from.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you guys like straight up today. I was thinking about this because of all your Twitter fights today. Are we? And answer this honestly. Are we being extremist in what we do here? Do you think?
Sometimes.
I think we are at times, yeah.
Like, do you think the label
I
would
think
be
any
fair
opinion-
if somebody, like, if somebody was
think-
writing a story about us from a, we'll say, a neutral standpoint, would they say our views were extremist?
Well,
Or
I
would they
had
say they're
lots of,
centric?
I had
Yes.
lots of like American blue check marks with like reporters and like people from like, you know, the Washington Examiner or something like that. I had lots of them say, "Oh fuck, you're a really centered guy," and I'm like, well, I think I am, generally speaking. But
Yeah.
to your point, I mean,
Look at
maybe-
all the
I
shit
mean,
they would
maybe
have
we
to
should
cherry
fucking
pick.
Relax.
They would cherry pick
That's
a whole bunch of Dean stuff, right? They'd cherry pick my time to invade the Vatican. They would cherry pick your thing about shut the fuck up about dry January, you alcoholic piece of shit. Like whatever the fuck, right? Like Lachlan, I don't know.
Cheers to everybody. It's like
There'd be
the,
something that you
10th.
just started blogging, but I'm sure there's something there, right? Like they would just cherry pick the worst things, and then
Oh
we'd
man,
be.
almost daily I get put in one side or the other. Like,
But we'd be
and in
mostly
the
put
same
on the left.
conversation, James. In the same conversation, I get called a libtard, and then I get called a like a redneck. Like
That's
I
how you
mean,
know you're
it's-
doing it right. That's how you know
Well,
you're doing it right.
Well, and
Seriously.
that's the frustrating thing for
That's
me.
like
and
actually a good
that's-
point, James. You're right.
Whenever I get fucking shat on by one group and then the polar opposite group, I'm just like, okay, I did a job. I did a good job this time. That's good
It does
work.
sound. It makes sense. As crazy as that sounds, I think that makes the most sense. Is if,
That's why
if
in
both
3 years
sides
I've
are
only
yelling
gained
at
40
you,
Twitter.
You did the right thing.
you did the right. You ended up mashed in the middle.
I
so-
was right again. I fucking and I'm not even tired of it, guys. Like I'm not even tired of being right. Like it is. I've been right for like 2.5 solid years, and it's like at some point you would think maybe I'm special, maybe I'm important.
Yeah, we're
And
not
I'm like, no,
extremists at all.
I
You just
know,
wait till
not
you
at
get
all.
to 10 years, buddy. Come see me.
I mean, I
And
was
a lot
more.
of people
I was
will be
more
out
curious.
there going like, I got the virtue signaling ones today. It's like, look at you putting yourself on top of someone is like dancing on someone's grave. I'm like, well, pointing out that she got what she wanted is not dancing on someone's grave. Which once again, you know, even in those micro conversations, I was right about all of them. Like I think I even tweeted you guys today. I'm like, I won again. No big
Yeah,
deal.
you
We
did.
kind of did. Yeah,
That was in the DMs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm just thinking
You
like
wanna
if
get
an
tired
actual
of it? No.
centrist came like from the outside, has never watched us on here and never read any of our shit, and listen to us have these conversations that we've been having for the last 2 years, would they label us in the extreme left side or would they label us as centrists? And
Left.
that's kind of.
They would
They
never.
would
they
label
I
us.
think
they would-
chronic
they would
masturbators
say
are
we were
missing
left.
that one.
Someone with any amount of intelligence would probably put us leaning left, but shoots the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But again, the irony of that is I
don't
have
want to get
never
stuck in
voted
my own echo
E,
chamber either.
and I think I can remember once on one hand, like one time voting liberal. Like honestly,
But they're two kind of centrists, though, right?
Sorry,
like
I don't mean politically leaning. I mean, just like thought process. Like, are we liberal or are we conservative in our thought process? Not how we vote. Like,
Well,
how,
there's-
I
how
don't
do
even
we?
think
but
about
but
that.
there are two kinds of those, right? So there's the centrist, and I'm not talking like political parties, but there's the centrist-minded person that takes the middle ground on every single fucking issue there is, and then there's the centrist where he ends up a centrist when you average out his views that sometimes drift to the left and sometimes drift to
that's
the right.
that.
I'm
actually
more
probably
that.
sums
What-
us all
Yeah,
up.
I think
yeah,
so.
I think so.
Yeah, Robert.
Gentlemen,
Durst.
I've got breaking news of sorts.
Did
if
somebody
you will.
die?
Yeah. Dunker
Somebody
pass.
that,
It's time
again-
for some live Dunker pass.
Again, that I put in the goddamn death pool. Fuck sakes.
You
Lachlan.
put this guy in your death pool. You should have got him.
Who?
Robert Durst, real estate scion, convicted of murder. Remember this guy, the old
You
weirdo
did
from
mention
the
him.
movie The Jinx?
I
Yeah.
know.
Dude, died
I'm free
of
for
COVID
fucking 3 in the last
jail.
week.
Why didn't you show me a picture of him?
Just
I
now.
totally would have picked him if I would have saw that pic.
I don't know who the fuck this is. He
He's
Fred
just been
Durst's
eating
grandfather? Like, who is
No,
this
no,
person?
no. He's part of the Durst like family, massive real estate family, inherited it all. Legitimate crazy bastard, killed his ex-wife, killed his girlfriend, was on the run for like 20 years. They caught up with him and they got a confession of him, no word of a lie, admitting to the murders when he was taking a
Of, like,
piss with a
20
lav mic.
Yep.
You know, like Naked Gun? He was taking a piss and was
No.
like, and
Yes.
he was going like this. He goes, who killed all those people? You did, of course. And so they're
He was
like,
nuts.
we can hear you taking a piss, admitting to the murders. You fucking crazy. So anyway, he went to jail. But he died in jail. So he murdered people, died of COVID, Dunker pass. Is this life worth anything?
Well,
Not
no,
just-
because of how he got caught.
No, but all life is just as important to all those crazy fuckers. So Dunker pass.
You dunk. You
He's
dunk
also
on this
not-
guy for sure.
I'm
He's
dunking
also
on
not-
that.
he's-
That
he wasn't
hairline
done.
deserves a dunk.
They weren't done with him. Apparently, he was suspected in multiple other
Yeah.
homicides that they never solved, and they're
Well,
pretty
we
sure
shouldn't
he
make
had a
fun,
part
though.
of it.
We shouldn't make fun.
He got
All
caught
death is
by
bad death.
talking to himself. You
Taking a
dunk
piss.
on him for that reason alone. Like, that is the why you're dunking, guys. Like,
Did he
I
die
don't
of
know.
COVID?
Yeah.
COVID is apparently like
COVID's-
ripping through
COVID's
it's like
prison
Kobe
system.
Bryant,
Yeah,
just
the
dunking on
prisons.
everybody.
Once again,
Yeah.
not my concern. That COVID is ripping through the prison system.
There's another thing.
Remember when
too,
we
right? Like-
vaccinated them first before the old people in the LTC?
yeah.
Oh, and I
Yeah.
lost my mind, and I
So did
remember
we.
people were
It was
very
like our
upset
first
at me.
podcast. That actually sparked our
Guys,
the Sheep
all
Shepherd
life
podcast.
is the same life according
but
to
it's a-
so many dumb fuckers.
But it's a different provincial. It's a different level of government for those two decisions. Also,
I had
Just
people
worth
mad
pointing
at
out.
me when I
Federal
was saying
inmates is a
they should
federal-
be
Federal
dead
inmates.
last.
It was federal
For the
inmates, and
vaccine,
it
yes.
was federal inmates. But Justin Trudeau doesn't have the choice of to go and vaccinate old folks' homes in different provinces. So it was an unfair thing. They shouldn't have been compared. But
Yeah,
Anyway, I feel
Yeah.
like we did some good work today.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
I agree. You know what? I'm glad we had that discussion about where we're at.
Yeah.
With because for me, I'm still trying to rationalize this and how we approach. Like I've even questioned, like today we did, because we talked about the mandate thing on Friday, right? Like how the health minister out of Quebec said that it should. That was the headline, but he didn't really say it should. So I ran a Twitter poll on the weekend, and then we had the discussion this morning about should vaccines be mandatory, and we had a really good. Like I was surprised. I said to Grant afterwards, and no one got really angry, and we were moving in and out of both sides, right? And that helped me formulate an opinion, because it's evolving. My opinion is evolving about where we're at and how to handle it. This conversation is helping that, and maybe more than anything, that's what we're doing. So maybe it's a little severe for Dean to be celebrating an anti-vaxxer's death, but if it sparks the conversation about where we sit and gets us talking about it, maybe that's beneficial. Maybe I'm trying to give us some hope here for the
I think
pod.
it is. I think it is. And you know what? It makes me think differently. Like I just got this. You're legit disgusting. This is from Notre Dame fan 27. Let Christ into your heart. Nothing is ever so bad to publish something as vile as this. Well,
Don't let
should
anything in your heart.
you imagine Christ being in your heart, and you're calling a stranger disgusting over the internet, and Christ is like, "Yeah, that's right."
What the
You
fuck?
tell him. You tell him. Fucking dunk on that guy.
yeah.
All right, JC, I got this.
Thanks, boys. Today was fun.
140 characters.
That was good.
I enjoyed it. And I'm with Lachlan. I mean, part of my responsibility, and I do take it seriously, and I have put aside my values several times to go, hey, everybody, look at this idiot. And maybe we need to, just as a point, and not, maybe not values related, because again, it's like showing up on time. If someone tells me to do it, I won't. But maybe
3 p.m.
Hey, Dean, show up at 3. That's why we started 3, 16, 18, 21.
I think Lachlan nailed it.
I think
Lachlan, I think you nailed it, buddy. I think like in 5 days we're going to have to sit Dean down. Now you did promise, and you've broken that promise twice. Are you going to be okay? And you'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I admitted, I don't know if I said this already because I can't remember when we go live, but I admitted on the air this morning, and I'm not even kidding, that if they mandated vaccines, I would be against it. Like, I would probably not want to get it.
You would have been an anti-vaxxer.
Honestly, I hate to be that guy, but I think I am.
But it's just, I got confused over when people were talking about that a lot today, and I was like, do they mean forced, or do they mean if you don't get it, you get fined? Like, what do they mean by mandatory?
I did a poll this weekend. I did a straw poll when all the mandate stuff started to kind of percolate, if you will. And you know who won that poll? Like, should we do federal mandated vaccines? Now, listen, when I went through the tweets, there was like 2,000 votes. When I went through the tweets, it was like every anti-vaxxer was like, hey guys, further this to your friends so that we can win this vote. And it was just my straw poll, so whatever. Yeah. But like 49% were like, no, we can't do this. We can't do the vaccine.
It was 56 on mine.
Yeah.
And 44 no. And
But does anyone know what it means? Does anyone is there a consistent definition of what that means?
Great point. Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. No.
I think for me, when they say mandate, it means if you live in Canada, you have to get the vaccine.
Because I kind of likened it to abortion.
But what would we do to people?
Hold on. I kind of likened it to abortion because the pro-choice is the bodily autonomy thing, right? You can't fucking make me make a decision about my body. It's the same fucking argument if it comes down to it. Like,
you're not wrong, James.
But what would we do to somebody that refused to get a shot? Are we actually? We're not going to physically hold them down and do it.
No, that's right.
That's the other problem. I mean,
so
they're fining them in Australia, right? Every month you get like a $200 fine or something. In Quebec,
I like what they're doing in Quebec.
Right
now. Quebec is doing it.
Viva Quebec!
I talked about this on Lachlan's show this morning. They mandated it in Quebec. That you can't go to the liquor store and you can't go to the pot store and get your liquor or your weed. And I believe they're talking about doing it with grocery stores soon. Where you'll have to get online or curbside only and not allowed in the store.
I don't agree with that one.
So,
and I'm a hardcore dude. Like, but here's the thing. Quebec
but you can still access it. You just can't go in the building.
But backing up, Quebec the other day instituted, I've got a big article on this actually. Quebec instituted this vaccine mandate to buy booze and potluck. Did you see that?
Love it.
Yeah.
Guess what happened?
Quadrupled.
The
number of appointments.
Yeah. So mandate by squeeze. Mandate by squeeze. I'm down for. I think that's a great idea, and it's taking so maybe not groceries. Maybe now you now that I'm thinking it through, you might be right. But anything that's optional, the booze is optional, the weed is optional. I don't care what you say. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, well, get a fucking vaccine and go get your booze. You'll be fine.
It'd be hilarious if Netflix did it. Like, put your vaccine passport QR code right there, and then if you pass, then you can have your account.
What if Pornhub
than Netflix?
Oh my god!
Pornhub with a QR code. You gotta flash your QR code at the camera on your fucking computer before you start watching Granny's Bangin' 99.
Yeah, it'd be like
I just brought that one.
I think we just
that's a little
uncovered
awkward.
another rock.
Dunk.
It'd be like Kramer. It'd be like the masturbation contest on Seinfeld. We're done.
Yeah.
Rolling up my sleeve. Come on.
I'm out. I'm out.
But see, Quebec, and I know we all laugh about Quebec because who doesn't? But like,
we don't laugh about Quebec and Alberta.
Well, we
haven't
do.
hit.
There's no humor.
We're Ontario, so we're like up here. Quebec's like down over here. Alberta's like up here, in my mind. So Quebec's still down.
Very superior.
With like Saskatchewan.
Oh fuck! Saskatchewan's the worst place in the world.
The worst province in the history of provinces.
Anyway, his name is Mo. Like, for fuck's sakes.
You guys realize Manitoba's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
I lived in Saskatchewan for a year. I'm qualified to say how much it's the worst place in the world. It's the only place in the world where racists will just be like, "Wait, you're not racist? Fuck you,
exactly.
man. Fuck
Yeah,
you,
totally.
man.
How is Newfoundland not part of this conversation?
You're from
They're
Saskatchewan.
nice.
I like
They
the
hide
Newfies.
their racism with clever
Yeah.
jokes and one-liners. It's fine.
You're from Saskatchewan.
They hide their
You can't-
racism under the work boots.
You can't. I was gonna say you can't comment when somebody calls
And besides,
you.
the Newfies only learn to get
term.
racist when they move to Fort Mac, right?
Yeah, they're like turned racist when they go to Fort Mac.
Dude,
Yeah,
I'll
they're
tell
fine
you,
before.
I spent a year up in Fort Mac, well, 8 months, and it is half the population's Newfie up there. At least it was in 96, 97 when I was up.
Oh
there.
yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
didn't know
nicest
how to be
people in the
racist
world.
till they
Listen,
got there,
I love people from Eastern
great.
Canada, the greatest people
Hey,
on the
buddy.
planet. Just joking around. But my point, going back to what we're saying,
Yeah.
the squeeze play. I'm with Rhino on this one.
Yeah.
Quebec's vaccine mandate for booze and pot sales caused riots. Just kidding. Vaccinations quadrupled and people can't get the jab fast enough. Because you know what they did? They put the jab in front of a joint and they're like, it's the carrot. It's the whole carrot thing. It's the carrot and the donkey thing. Just fucking flash that carrot on a little fucking fishing rod just over the head of the donkey and just go, here we go, over to the booze. You
This
did
is like a
it.
better version of the incentivization we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where it would like,
go.
hey, Randy, here's a 60 of rye. Up. You got to get jabbed first, right? But this
Yeah.
is like a better version of that, where you just don't even
How
let
pathetic
Randy
is
in.
I
that,
still
though?
like that,
I mean, you're
What
with
the-
all your buddies and with your family. You're
I'd be
like,
on
I'm
my
not getting
11th
this,
jab
I'm
by
never
now.
getting a job. Oh, you can't buy pot. Ah, shit.
I'd be like
Jab
that
me.
I'd be like that guy from India. I'd be on to my 12th jab by now.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were giving away bottles of rye. I'd be
I'll get it for
fuck.
you.
See you later.
Here's the other thing: is it backing that even up further, Locke? How about the last 2 years with all the memes and all the Facebook messages and all the like? You can't. This is tyranny. My family's fucked. And all of a sudden, the government in Quebec's like, you can't buy booze or pot unless you get vaccine. And they got a lot of scrubbing to do after they get the vaccine, right? They got
Yes.
a lot of scrubbing to do on that Facebook account.
Yeah.
And then-
2 years of me saying I gotta live by principles, and I just traded my fucking principles for a fucking case of
For a
pill.
bit. Yeah.
somebody,
A bag of weed.
somebody takes a picture and tags them, and there's booze on the table. Like, hey, where'd you get that?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where
If
did
it
you
was-
get that?
If it was possible, I'd get unvaccinated if it meant I'd have shrooms for the rest of my life. So
Just gotta snort piss.
Anyway, boys, that was fun.
That was a good one today.
We're
That
full
was fun,
circle.
guys.
Thanks for doing this. Lachlan Cross, the host of 95.7 Cruise FM's The Morning Show. The Locker Room is where you'll find him, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. We're going to have Jimmy on. By the way, his Jedi Jimmy podcast, it's like top 50 in Canada. It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's doing really, really well. I mean, for an alcoholic, overweight, dyslexic midget, he's having success in the world.
He might be the most successful overweight, dyslexic, alcoholic
Yes.
midget.
Yeah.
Pride of the White family out of
That-
Taber, Alberta.
That's where he's number one, not number 50.
I mean, it's him and Danny DeVito, right? That's it, right?
That is James D. Fiore from Black Ball the Podcast. You can get his podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, and you can find him on Twitter as well, at James D. Fiore or blackballmedia.ca. That's where you
Soon
can
to be getting pissed on by Chinese guards.
Oh, stop it.
Many swabs.
Yeah, they'll be swabbing with a whole arm too, for sure. With you get off.
Yeah,
that
but they
plane.
got these wee little arms. It's fine.
As soon as
a
you get
mop.
into that little room, they'll be like this.
It's a whole mop.
Let's go.
Is this where I see the new phones?
You want to see the men chew walk?
And that is Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast, where you can find him as well. The host, him and his lovely wife, Ashley, at Ryan Lindley on Twitter. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. I think we did actual good work today, which is...
We did.
It was a nice chat.
It was.
Good to
I
see
enjoy you, boys. Have a good day.
Love you
Have
guys.
a good one.
Love you guys, too. Probably won't be changing, though.
I like you a lot.
Probably not.
Probably
Dunk,
gonna
dunk, dunk.
stay the same. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Is it time to stop dunking? That's the question. I think the answer is maybe, but not so much if we get real assholes that we want to. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, you can get us wherever you get your fine podcasts, including iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We have a big announcement about Spotify coming up in the next couple of weeks. Can't say anything. What? Big announcement. And thank you for listening. You can see everything we do at deanblundell.com. Sign up for our newsletter there as well. Thanks to our friends and partners over at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Easy Auto Financial, they help you get in a car super easy, super cheap. In fact, free because they don't charge for financing. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Sign up today, no obligation. Our friends at Domination as well, helping you do content. It's AI for people that produce content. Gamers, streamers, takes you minutes instead of hours. One video, one file, 72 different promos. Takes you legitimately 7 minutes. You got to try them today. Go to dmntn.com. Try them for free. And, of course, Ed's at Ed's Fine Imports. His Gitch are the best you'll ever wear. You can put them on your body. They got a pouch in the front. They're luxury boxer briefs. You'll love them. Go to edsfineimports.com. Use promo code GITCH3 and order a pair for yourself today. That's it for us. See ya. Bye.